It's been a long time since I played a Ratchet and Clank game. I skipped out on the remake of the first game for PS4, however, I do respect the detail to graphics in that game, which made it feel like a Disney Pixar movie experience. But the last Ratchet and Clank game I can remember playing is the third entry, which was called Up Your Arsenal, which I remember being a very fun platformer with a third point view focused on heavy action and shooting, with fun minigames and fun story sequences here and there back on the PlayStation 2. But yeah, it's been a while and I can't remember the PS2 era games all that much. I need to go back and re-experience the older games soon here. But today, I'm going to review the newest entry in the Ratchet and Clank franchise named Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart for the PlayStation 5. Is this truly a new next-gen experience made for new console hardware? Like how Super Mario 64 was to the Nintendo 64 back in 1995? Or is this just another game that could have ran on a last-gen console, minus the faster load times and minus the haptic feedback experience that comes with the PS5 controller? Before we begin, please note that there will be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't beaten the game yet, then watch at your own discretion. You have been warned. And oh yeah, don't forget to aim a shatter bomb at the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Alright, let's get in there. I'm going to briefly start with the story here, as I do find it way better than the story of the remake on the PS4. I have nothing personal against the remake of the original, I just found it weird how Ratchet and Clank just meet up and become friends right away, where in the original there was a natural build up from what I remember at least. And as the game went on, Ratchet and Clank gradually started opening up to each other. But anyways, the story in Rift Apart actually felt more believable and had some touching moments, like how being alone and by yourself for a very long time and surviving truly makes it hard to be around others. And sometimes, the more independent you become, the less you need to rely on others in order to survive. But sometimes you still have to open yourself up and give others a chance, because you never know how things can turn out. Maybe you'll form a long-lasting friendship if you just learn to be vulnerable. And I thought that was deep, and it was something I could relate to. Captain Quark and Dr. Nefarious, they're all here as well, and I feel like they really did a good job on the cutscenes, which included the evil genius himself. Every character has their own alternate dimension version of themselves in this game, which I found very clever and interesting, especially when it's the first time encountering them. Rivet is the new playable Lombax in this game, and she is a very nice addition to the lore and story of this universe and game. Rivet is also a very confident and cool character, and in my opinion, she has the most memorable parts in the story as well as some deep moments which I could relate to in some ways, and the connection between her and Kit is very interesting because both of these characters form a bond as partners as the story starts to conclude. One downside is that playing as Rivet feels exactly the same as playing as Ratchet. There's literally no difference from a gameplay perspective here, which I believe is a missed opportunity, as I feel like Insomniac could have done better here. Rivet has all of the same exact movesets and weapons as Ratchet, so it didn't feel like I was playing as a brand new character when I was running around platforming, shooting aliens and robots with crazy unique weapons. It just felt the same as I switched between the two main characters. Why not give Rivet her own unique upgrades and abilities and weapons, which could make playing as her so much different than Ratchet? Like in Spider-Man, Miles Morales, I felt like I was playing as a new Spider-Man with his own new set of gadgets and abilities, which made him feel different from Peter Parker. Anyways, moving on. Kit, who I just mentioned earlier, is the alternate dimension version of Clank, and she has some good moments within the story as well. However, she also plays the same as Clank. It just felt like another character skin swap. That's too bad. Ratchet in the newer games just seems way too overly nice, ready to help and become friends with everyone right away. As usual, and although I think that's okay, I do kinda miss the original Ratchet from the first game, where he wasn't afraid to be a jerk here and there, but in a fun, light-mannered way. But that's just my opinion. He's still a solid main character in this game. Just wish he wasn't so overly open and happy-go-lucky all the time, as it makes him feel less badass at times and doesn't match the action shooting elements of this game, even though it's a E for everyone style adventure. It's kinda like if Jack from Jak and Daxter 2 and 3 went backwards from being a badass and going back to the happy bouncy Jack from the first game. It just doesn't fit in with a badass character who has lots of guns and ammos and shoots bad guys into dust or bolts in this situation. And that's what the game feels most like. Pixar Disney style adventure story with lighthearted but deep moments. It's good for the kids. So in a way, I guess Ratchet's character matches with the style of game for the story and atmosphere this game is trying to sell us here. Overall, the story is fantastic and I can't complain, even though I do wish that it could have been a bit darker here and could have included some more adult jokes here and there like the earlier games. Now let's talk about the graphics, because the graphics are amazing in this game. It really felt jaw-droppingly beautiful and amazing to just stare at sometimes. During my playthrough, I just had to stop and appreciate what's there. However, I do feel like this game could have ran on a PS4 Pro, and I feel like this is still just an early PS5 release and it still feels like we aren't really ready for what's to come in the near future, or what the hardware is actually capable of yet. I played this game in performance mode setting where the frame rate is at about 60 frames per second, and it is my preferred way to play through the game. However, there are other performance mode settings as well. There is a fidelity mode where the game runs at 30 frames per second, but with added ray tracing and enhanced lighting. However, I don't think the drop in frame rate makes it a smoother experience compared to performance mode. But still, it looks cool when it's enabled if you just want to appreciate all the small stuff. And last but not least, there is a performance RT setting which kind of combines both fidelity and performance mode. However, it can make the game look more blurry and the ray tracing is still here, but it depends on you. I personally don't like to sacrifice resolution for better graphics. Depends on your TV as well, I suppose, and personal preference. The stages here are very expertly crafted here in my opinion, and every level and world felt like it had a new gameplay style or gimmick added to them as the game went on, which did make the gameplay fun and interesting through the 12 hours it took me to run across, platform, and shoot my way through all the worlds in the main campaign. I want to talk about the levels for a bit here. One level has you dashing around in a desert area while a big, huge alien spider-like machine patrols around. And this level had ramps and grind rails which you have to use in order to reach the different areas in the level, which made the scope and scale of the level seem like an open world platforming game like Banjo-Tooie for example. Another level had an underwater section and other sections where I was being chased by an alien monster, and I had to be fast and precise and use objects which contained some sort of alien juice fluid which when attacked distracts the alien monster, allowing you to escape momentarily. In the desert world I mentioned before, you can literally jump on these snail-like creatures and ride them across water or open areas at a very fast speed, and that created some memorable moments and memorable challenges and complemented the gameplay as well. There are also optional quests such as searching for gold bolts, which unlock cheat modes or alternate skins for your weapons and much more. There are hidden gear locations as well, so if you want more cosmetic options and enjoy them in your video games, it's here. And there are also spy bots to find in each of the levels as well. And I really recommend that you take your time playing through this game. Seriously, every time you go to a new world, just explore and search for these extra items, as it really adds to the overall experience and increases the overall game length, which is a plus, and the best way to experience and play this game. There is also a Coliseum or gladiator type challenges where you are thrown into an arena and are given different tasks such as defeating 5 waves of enemies using a single type of weapon. Completing all the cups was a fun time and really tested me at certain points. Speaking more about the levels, there are also these purple time rift stone thingies hidden around all of the levels, and when attacked, teleports you into another dimension of that world, which gave it a Legend of Zelda kind of vibe with the whole light world, and now there's a dark world version of it, and these sections made the game feel more like a puzzle game at times, which I did appreciate. Sometimes in order to reach a far off section of the world or trying to reach a specific destination, you will need to maneuver around both the main dimension and alternate dimensions in order to progress, which made it feel like I was solving a puzzle, and it was gratifying to travel back and forth between the two dimensions in order to reach a hidden collectible or reach an optional quest or main story quest. There are also these dimensional rift things scattered across the worlds and battle arenas in which fights take place in, which when you're somewhat close to it allows you to press the L1 button so Ratchet or Rivet can latch onto the open portal or reel themselves in like Link using the long shot in Ocarina of Time. These open rift portals saved me a lot when I was facing a lot of enemies all at once, as it allowed me to escape and teleport to a different platform and catch a breath of fresh air. Another example is if enemies were out of my reach and too far away, I could just latch onto an open portal rift and surprise attack enemies with close ranged attacks. Speaking of close ranged attacks, it works really well here and can kill almost any basic enemy within 3 to 4 hits, which was very useful when I ran out of ammo for my weapons. Now, the weapons in this game are all fun and super satisfying to level up and use against enemies. We got the Executor, as it can wipe out enemies pretty quickly at close range distance and becomes very powerful as you upgrade and level it up, allowing you to clear a group of enemies that are in front of you with ease. The Ricochet is perfect for a group of enemies as well, or even boss battles. The only thing is that you have to press the R2 button to time the attacks to get in extra hits, which I didn't mind as I am a Paper Mario fan and a JRPG fan in general, and timing attacks with the press of a button is nothing but second nature at this point for me. And then there's the Topiary Sprinkler, which can freeze a mob of enemies in their tracks, turning them into perfect garden sculptures, which is pretty cool as you can just finish them off or catch a quick breather and escape from the action for a bit. All the weapons are a joy, and some late game weapons are very cool and amazing as well, but I will leave that up to you guys to discover for yourselves, as I don't want to ruin all the weapons for you guys, and using these weapons for the first time as well as discovering them is part of the enjoyment of this game. There's another character that goes by the name of Miss Zarkon, and this character usually hangs around in each of the worlds, and when you find her, you can then spend your hard-earned bolts that you have earned while fighting enemies to buy and purchase new weapons or refill your health bar and ammo. You can gain new skills for your weapons here by spending skill points in order to unlock new abilities to increase their stats and effects and range of damage. Your weapons will also level up during battle as you plow through mobs of aliens or robots and angry alien dinosaurs, which I appreciated being a fan of JRPGs and all. And I did feel extremely overpowered in the end, even though I set the difficulty up a bit. Some of the other abilities you gain throughout the adventure are solid as well. You get the hover boots, which allows you to jet rush around levels, making traveling across big open areas feel less like a chore. And there are also some cool platforming moments where you have to use the hover boots in order to fly off a ramp in order to fly across huge gaps and land onto a platform or solid ground, which is far away and impossible to reach otherwise. The grind boots allow you to grind on top of rails, and magnetic boots allow you to stick to magnetic surfaces. The Omni Glove is super important in this game as it allows you to swing shot or hook shot your way into rifts and open portals, but the best and most important feature of this weapon is the ability to perform a quick dash in and out of battle, which made me feel like I was playing a Mega Man X game whenever I had to dash and platform my way across difficult platforming sections, and made the overall platforming more enjoyable as a result. Even in battle, if I quickly had to dodge an enemy or boss's attack, I would just dash away and barely escape, which allowed for some amazing comebacks when I thought I would get a game over screen. I'm going to mention some flaws that I personally ran into or experienced during my time with Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart as well. So to start off, I did notice a lot of glitches sometimes when I would try to jump over something and get stuck in a glitch and couldn't make it out of it sometimes, which frustrated me, but this happened only a couple of times, and thanks to the PS5's faster load times, it wasn't much of a big issue if I had to reboot the game. Another flaw I had with this game is the boss battles. Yeah, most of the boss battles consist of a lame, huge, gigantic robot enemy or alien dinosaur or an alternate version of them, which was super disappointing. This was also an issue in Spider-Man where the bosses all felt easy and lame except for a few, and it shows that Insomniac needs to come up with better boss battles. Most of the boss fights play out the same as well. You just shoot, run, and jump and use your Omni Glove to tether target or hookshot towards an open rift, and rinse and repeat until the boss's HP runs out. Couldn't they create new villainous characters that work under Dr. Nefarious that Ratchet and Revit have to stop? Give them their own unique abilities and gimmicks and have us on our toes instead of just doing the same thing over and over again. Make one boss have you go through a difficult platforming section while another one tests your memory or combat skills. I don't know, I'm just throwing around ideas here. Another flaw that I had is that the game is way too short and can be beaten within 8 or 12 hours if you're trying to find everything and complete some optional quests, and that was super disappointing, as I expected at least a 15 to 20 hour adventure here, but was sorely let down. Especially when the game is being charged at full price. At least with tax and all, this is going to make it difficult for me to score this game. One last thing I want to talk about here is the Clank sections, where you get to play as Clank. You have to basically lead phantom versions of Clank himself to their destination at the end of a level. Basically, you just have to complete puzzles using different types of gears or orbs or whatever they're called. And there are different orbs. For example, there's a speed orb, there's another orb which makes Clank heavy, or a lift orb which lifts Clank into the air, and these orbs all affect the phantom versions of Clank as well, and you will need to figure out the best path in order to guide these phantom Clanks to their destination in order to complete these puzzle sections in the main campaign. I found the Clank puzzle sections very fun and enjoyed to figure out and complete, and these do get harder towards the end of the game. I truly had an amazing time with Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and I do think it is worth playing through for any PS5 owner, but it is kind of overhyped in my opinion. I felt like this could have still played well on a PS4 Pro, and I truly did get the impression that we would be traveling across a lot of dimensions in this game seamlessly, while simultaneously exploring other huge planets and then quickly just hopping back and forth across these planets and dimensions with no load times or hopping inside a ship to select a world. Maybe I just had the wrong impression here, or that I expected too much from the game, but still, hitting the purple crystals and getting sent to another dimension of that world was still cool. The story, the gameplay, the presentation, the level design, the characters, and the amazing weapons and abilities are all first class here, and what I expect from a game created by Insomniac. They nailed it with Spider-Man, and they did a very good job here. But if only the overall game length was a bit longer, and if they made the game just giving Rivet and Kit their own unique abilities that would set them apart from Ratchet and Clank themselves, which could have created a new unique gameplay experience while playing as these characters. If only the overall game length was a bit longer, and if they made the game just a bit more ambitious, then I would have gave the game a solid 9 and an instant purchase. However, with this short story campaign and lackluster boss fights, although a couple were really cool and memorable, I would say that if you can wait for a price drop or a sale, then do that, but don't miss out on this adventure by any means necessary. It lives up to some of the best games in the Ratchet and Clank franchise, and I'm going to replay this game for sure, as I just can't get enough of it. With all that said, I'm going to give this game an 8.3 out of 10. Buy it or wait for a sale if you can. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more, and leave a comment down in the comment section and let me know what did you guys think about Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. And was it the next gen experience you were all looking for or not? And what did you like or not like about the game? Thanks for watching, and see you all on the next episode of Roguespirit Reviews. Cheers.